There is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
Yo, what's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gift and the Gift. Hey, I personally just want to take the time to tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving me your eyes and ears once again as we ready to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourself. So guys, you go ahead and buckle up. You're in for an amazing treat for episode 46. My God, Jeff Heggie, he is in the house. He's going to bring some amazing value and share some tips and technique as how we can grow in entrepreneurship as we dive on the theme high achievers mindset secrets. So, hey, the secrets is about to be out, y'all. So go ahead. I never steer you wrong. Grab your pen and paper. And like I said, there's going to be some amazing value given and some awesome conversation in general. And before I introduce this giant, I want to go over the motto and the mission statement of this platform. You know that our motto is, all my returning listeners, we are all gifted differently to make a difference. And if this is your first time listening to GNG Podcast, I just want to encourage you to understand this one thing before we get started with anything. You are not too small to be a difference maker in someone's life right now. So wherever you are, wherever circumstances you're in, you can make a difference. And I know there's difference makers that's tuning in. Go ahead and drop your comments if you see fit. Share this episode out, whatever platform you're looking at this on, whether it's on this Facebook Live or a replay, on YouTube, on one of the podcast platforms. Let us know that you're there. And this whole platform, the mission statement behind it is to provide tips and techniques for young males as they strive towards growing in personal development. And I want you to take this daily challenge with me. I want you to consider this: to become a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in the area of gifting led by God. So we cannot start this episode without going over that daily challenge. That's one that I'm going on. I know my man Jeff's taking it, and I want to encourage you to take it with us. Let me go ahead and read off this short bio on Jeff, and we're going to get him on the show. Jeff, he is a father. He is a husband. He's a coach. He is an entrepreneur. And I'm telling you, this guy is so passionate about taking entrepreneurs to the next level. And if you, all right, I got my guy, Jeff Heggie. He is in the house with us. And Jeff, I want you to, if you can, for the audience, go and share a little bit more of your backstory, you know, how on the instance of how you got to where you are today, to be an entrepreneur, you know, being someone that helps others get to the next level and just crushing it, man, doing the things that you're doing in 2021. Can you just share with the audience your story a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, a lot of what I'm doing today is just a reflection of what I've been through and the experiences that I've had and the people that have helped me and stuff. And I've really had a diverse background. I graduated from college with an entrepreneurship major. And at that point, I was just happy to be done school. And I had a great opportunity to go work at a bank. They offered me a great job, and I turned it down because I was actually, at the time, I was a professional rodeo cowboy. And to me, that was more important at the time. And so I took the opportunity to continue my rodeo career and just kind of focus on that. And then by the end of that summer, my wife and I we had a kid on the way. And, you know, it really made me start reflecting on life, I guess. And I decided to go back to the bank and see if that opportunity was still there. And I was fortunate enough that they still hired me on. And I
want you to stay up with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want you to do two things for me. Keep that crown on your heart. And please remember this. We are God's echo. I love each and every one of you.
Tell you what, I didn't, being in an entrepreneurship major in school, I just wanted to start my own business. But probably as an entrepreneur, the best thing I did was get a job at the bank, because I learned so much while I was there. And they actually continued my education. I took a lot more courses and whatnot, but they were actually really great at letting me go after the career I wanted. And so I was able to climb the ladder really quick. And I went through the personal lending, the investments, all those sort of things. But soon I was into the account manager role, and then it didn't take long at all. And I was in a position where I was managing my own branch. And at that time I was managing the branch, but I also had the opportunity that I was the one that oversaw all the business loans. And that was incredible for me, because what it allowed me to do on a daily basis is sit down with entrepreneurs and see what was working, see what wasn't working, really dig in and find out what they were doing. And so, I mean, it was really just a dream for me. And one day I was sitting with one of those entrepreneurs, and he was one that I loved to spend time with, because he had so many different businesses and his background was just incredible. And at the time, he had a company that they made manufactured log homes. They made them off site, and then they would go put them together on site. And he had a catalog sitting on his desk for artificial stone veneer. So the stone that you see on the front of houses and fireplaces and whatnot. And through a conversation, at the time I was living in Canada. Through a conversation, we were looking at that, and I said, I can do that. I can figure out how to make those stone, and we'll supply you. Well, long story short, he ended up being my partner to this day. This was back in 2005.
And it all started from you giving him a loan to start one of those businesses, or is that kind of how it went?
No, actually, just he is a customer of the bank. And well, yeah, there were, the business had some of the loans and whatnot, but it was all established before I came into the picture. But it was someone that I had the opportunity that I sat down with him a lot and really talked business and learned what he had done and was doing and different things like that.
That's awesome.
And so, and that's, mentorship has always been something that I think is vital. And he has been a mentor to me from the first day I met him, and helped me in a lot of ways. And so what happened was I left the banking industry and decided to start making rocks. So I found a place in Missouri that trained me how to do it. And I went down there, and it was so exciting because they taught me. And I left there. I was sitting in the airport in Dallas, ready to fly home. And I remember thinking, this is simple. This is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And there was one specific, as I'm studying it and looking at my competitors and stuff, there was a company that had this one color of stone that to me was just beautiful. It was actually called Dakota Brown. I can remember that. And I'm sitting in that airport thinking, okay, as soon as I get home, we're going to work. We're going to make this, and we're going to match that Dakota Brown color. And we're just going to start off on the right foot, and we're going to kill it. So we went home, did all that thing, all our stuff. The next day when we go back, and they're made in molds. And so the next day we had to go demold them. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this first stone of the company, it's going to sit on my shelf in my office. It's going to be kind of like, there's the original stone, the first one we ever made. And I pulled that out, and it was pink. And
wow.
It was such a disappointment. And instead of that stone sitting, I actually wish now in hindsight I would have kept it. But instead of sitting on my shelf as here's our first stone of the company, that thing, as I marched out the door, I threw it as far as I could.
Wow.
So it was, and that was the start of a very steep learning curve for me. As an entrepreneur, starting a company like that, it was learning the manufacturing, and it was learning and doing the sales. It was doing the accounting. It was doing the orders. It was doing the deliveries. At the beginning, I did everything. And it was really, as I said, a steep learning curve, but then it gave me the opportunity to start building a team and delegating stuff. And it was really a great experience learning all that. And, that was in 2005. We started that in 2006. We started another factory in Utah. And from 2006 to now, the industry has gone up and down. We're involved in the home building industry, and so it's gone every direction it could. And so we've had to pivot a number of times. We got into the retail side. There's so many things, and I learned so much from that company over 16 years. It's been quite incredible. And the people I've been involved with was absolutely incredible too.
So you're still involved with that type of work as far as the stoning at this present time?
No, I was until COVID.
Okay.
We had some things in place that we were actually looking at some expansion, and through COVID, we've actually had to shut our doors. So it was. Oh
man, you're constantly having to overcome some adversity in some way or fashion. It seems like throughout your whole story.
Yeah, and as hard as that was to do, there's still so much to learn from the whole situation as well. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of adversity throughout the whole thing, and then how we had to finalize things was quite a learning lesson. So and one of the things about it is throughout that whole process, even when I was in the banking industry, I still was looking at the entrepreneurial side. I got in, I bought some apartments, I bought a mini storage facility, stuff like that. So I was always involved in something. And so it's given me a lot of opportunity to mentor people coming to me, asking me about things. And even for about 4 or 5 years, we used to go over to Hawaii, to Brigham Young University in Hawaii, and help the students with their business plans and then judge their business plan competition. And that was something that I've always loved, is having the opportunity to sit down, just like I did at the bank, sit down with entrepreneurs. And in the bank, it was from a financial side, coaching them from the financial side. With the students, it was coaching them on all aspects, and then a lot of opportunities to mentor other people. But one of the things throughout the years, one of my partners and our CFO, we always talked about the learning experiences we had in our companies. And he knew I had an interest in getting into the coaching side of things at some point, because I was taking some certifications, doing different things. And we always talked about, oh, this is one that's going to go in the book, or this is one that we'll use when we're coaching or whatever. And anyways, one day he calls me and he says, I've got a client I want you to meet, because I think you guys really need to share stories. And so it was someone down here in Arizona, and I had an opportunity to go sit down with him. And he had a very similar background as me. He had a manufacturing company that was in the home building industry. And today he's an extremely successful coach. And it was exactly the path that I wanted to take. And so this was a few years ago. And one of the things we did when we sat down is we talked about why I wasn't doing it and what I needed to do. And after telling him my side of the story of my background, all those things, he basically said, why aren't you doing it? You've got the credentials, you've got the experience. Why aren't you doing it? And that was kind of like a flash in my head of like, you know what? It's my own limiting beliefs holding me back. I keep telling myself I don't have the qualifications, but I have more than a lot of coaches out there. And that's when I kind of pulled the trigger and said, yeah, that's what I need to do. And so my coaching career, as I've gone the last few years, has kind of changed as well based on what I'm doing. But it's been a lot of fun. For the most part, it's been coaching entrepreneurs and whatnot. But I've also been a basketball coach for the last 20 years. And so, for example, one of the things, I've got a mastermind. And last year, I'd host my mastermind actually from our film room at the school, because as soon as I was done, I had to go to basketball practice. And one of my assistant coaches was in that mastermind group, and we'd come out to practice and he'd say, you've got to teach the team what you were talking about in there. And so it really opened it up and made me realize, you know what, there's so many similarities between entrepreneurship and athletics and life. And so that's what started creating some of my courses and stuff on developing a powerful mindset. And that's when I decided, you know, I need to focus on the entrepreneurs, but I can do this for the athletes as well. And so besides entrepreneurs, I've been focusing on a lot of the young athletes as well. And that's something I really love. I love working with the young athletes and seeing them develop, because you help them develop as an athlete, and it goes on in life and what they become.
I totally agree. And I can tell, man, it's something that you really care about. You care, you value, and you love serving. And this hearing you talk and this kind of revising it in my mind and bringing it to surface a little bit more, it made me think about John Maxwell and his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And one of those laws is the law of the rubber band. And from you talking about, working at the bank and taking that leap of faith of, going out and starting your business, and then that fell pummeling because of COVID-19, and this still, making those connections and growing and you're being stretched, right? So some of those situations, I mean, you can draw the line and plug the blank, but you was uncomfortable. Like that rubber band stretching, but based on that law, again, when it stretches, it never returns back to its original form. And that's what's so beautiful about it, because you said it so many times, like that you was learning and you didn't take those situations when it didn't go in your favor, like that Dakota Brown. Am I saying that right? The Dakota Brown song, when it came out and it wasn't the right color. A lot of people would have just been like, man, this ain't for me, man. I'm going to go back and work at the bank, or go back and do what I felt comfortable with doing, because I don't want to experience this anymore. But it sounds like, man, you was like, no, we want to get this figured out, and we're going to keep pressing forward, failing forward. And gosh, man, thank you so much, because if you would have gave up on it in that moment, man, you wouldn't be on GNG podcast right now, I don't believe, because you wouldn't be shining your light and impacting the people like you are either. So thank you for doing what you're doing and going a little bit deeper on your story. Now, I know the theme of our whole talk here is high achievers mindset secrets. And I know you got a secret to share with the young man who's listening right now, or a teacher or a parent, a coach of a young male that's listening right now, in a sense of providing a tip or technique or routine, a ritual that you do to keep your entrepreneurship mindset sharp. Is there something that comes to mind that you can encourage that young listener right now who's, maybe have a creative side, really wants to, get his business going, and what works for you on a daily basis?
There's a couple things I want to touch on that. One is stop believing your own lies, because
dude, you gotta say that again, man. That was good stuff, man.
I said, so stop believing your own lies.
That is so true.
Because there's so many things we tell ourselves that we can't do something, or I'm not worthy of something, or I don't have the qualifications. It's what I was doing. I can't be a coach. I don't have the credentials. I don't have the experience. It took someone else telling me, you know what, you have the credentials, you have the experience. Why don't you do this? And it's that self-talk that we have that is such an important factor, because we tell ourselves lies all the time, and it's what holds us back. And when we can take control of our self-talk, we can change our destiny. And that's something I look back at it now, especially from a sports standpoint and just growing up. It's, you hear people say, if I knew then what I know now. Well, if I knew about the power of your mindset, the power of your self-talk back then, I would have been unstoppable, because it's unbelievable. And that's what, our youth today need to realize. They've got the world in their hand, and, they've just got to believe it. And I talk a lot about your self-talk. I said, what I mentioned is just recognizing it, because our self-talk is really a matter mostly of answering and asking questions in our mind. And as we say that, you probably thought to yourself, is that what I do? Yeah, you just asked yourself a question. And so what we've got to be able to do is, when we start having the negative self-talk, because it doesn't matter how strong-minded you are, it doesn't matter how confident you are, you're still going to have that negative self-talk once in a while. But if you can recognize it, you can change the pattern. You can change your questions. You can change the question you're asking so that you can get a better answer. And one of the things that I like to talk about is your reticular activating system, or your RAS. And what that is, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the technical side of this or the science side of it, but it's a bunch of nerves about the size of your pinky that's in your brain. And it's basically a filter. And it's a filter to let you know to filter out everything that's not important. Because just right now, there might be a car outside, there might be a bird chirping, there might be, there is the air against our skin. There's so many things happening around us all the time that we can't possibly pay attention to all of it. So our RAS helps us to filter out what's important and what's not important. And one of the things that you can do to take advantage of this to help you in your confidence and your self-talk and all those things is starting to tell it what's important. So the story I like to share to kind of explain how the RAS works is when we moved from Canada to Arizona, I bought my daughter a new car. It was a little Mitsubishi Spider convertible. Cool little convertible car.
Nice car, man.
I had never seen one before, and at least I thought I hadn't. But it was a cool little car, and I loved it. But you know what? After I bought it, so did everyone else in the neighborhood, because I started seeing this car everywhere. That's obviously not what happened. It was already there before. It's just all of a sudden it's something that was important to me. So I was noticing it where I wasn't noticing it before. The same thing when you buy a new outfit and all of a sudden you see someone else wearing the same outfit, or you're walking through a noisy room that you can hardly hear a thing, but someone across the room says your name and you hear them, because your RAS helps you filter out what's important to you. So what we can do with that is we can use that to our own advantage. We can tell ourselves what's important to us so that when things happen that could impact that, we're going to pay attention. And that's why it's like setting goals. That's why it's important to read your goals every day, because when something happens in your life that could impact that goal, your RAS knows those goals are important because you're always reading them. And so it's going to help you recognize that thing.
Wow.
So
That's deep.
One of the things I do is I call them my mindset questions, and you can get them for free at jeffheggie.com/mindset. But what they are is a set of questions that I ask myself every morning. And I believe there's 10 questions, and they're just different things that I want to activate myself to recognize these things. And the first questions is, what are you grateful for? And, when you ask yourself every single morning, what are you grateful for? You're starting to look for things to be grateful for. You're starting to recognize the blessings that are in your life. And so I write out my goals every morning, go through my mindset questions, and that's it. But throughout the day, my RAS helps me recognize things that are related to those mindset questions. And so I think it's an important thing to do, because it helps us to find those things that are going to help us be successful.
Dude, there's no better way of saying what you just shared. Whoever's listening right now, definitely consider what Jeff is talking about. The RAS is very, very important. And what you focus on grows, right? So if you're focusing on the negative stuff, if that's what you're viewing as important, that's what you're going to attract. If you are more focused on the positivity, the more enlightenment side, the more growth side of your life, then that's what you're going to attract. And I love the mindset questions, and I know that somebody's listening is going to consider going to the website and checking those out. And what are you grateful for? Man, that is something that, I take the daily challenge of doing every morning myself. I love using the analogy of C in the morning, really starting what my self-talk is, what works for me, getting that exercise and that engaging part. But I said self-talk first, and I truly resonate with what you're saying. Getting yourself started by asking questions and really getting your brain churning and really laser focus on what you're wanting to achieve. Because for me, as I begin to get more clear on what God's calling me to do, man, it's like I get more magnetic, if it makes sense. Things start coming in my direction more, and you have more energy, right? Like whenever you really
Absolutely
get focused, man, you find yourself not as demotivated, if that makes sense. So again, whoever's listening right now, hey, consider that and check out more on the RAS and jeffhaggies.com and get those questions in hand. So that's some really good stuff. And also, man, I know you provided how, our belief system is so key. And when addressing that, we have someone that's listening right now, potentially that, they are looking to activate the greatness inside of them. I constantly say a lot of times that, we have a seed of greatness inside of us. And, just like that CFO, he watered your seed at one point to help cultivate you to get to where you are right now. And that one leader that challenged you to say, hey, you are enough right now to be the coach that you are amazing at being right now. Last question, can you just water that young man's seed right now and encouraging them to act on whatever God has put on their heart? Any motivating words that you can share moving out?
Absolutely. Why not you? Things are you're gonna have hard days, you're gonna have struggles, and you can go at it two ways. And it was like you were talking earlier, it might be sitting there and say, oh, why does this happen to me? I can't do that. And it's that negative self-talk. But you know what? Why not? Why not me? Why can't I do that? Why did this happen? Why did this happen for me? And look at life as it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Wow,
everything that's happening. When you can look at a struggle you're going through, and rather than saying, why do I have to go through this struggle? Why did God do this to me? No. What is my lesson? Why is this happening to me? Because I know it's a blessing in disguise, or it's a blessing right up front, because it's happening to me for a reason. And I ran a company for 16 years, and because of COVID, I ended up shutting it down. Guess what? It's made me a better person. It's introduced me to some incredible people. I'm a better coach because of it. And it's just a matter of developing that mindset that says, I can do this, and I've got the support behind me. Whether the people right around you are supportive or not, there's people that are there to support you. You've got support, the support you need within you. And there's so much opportunity. There's so many people right now. We've been through a pandemic, and all they think about is all the negatives, and they're waiting for someone to say, okay, the pandemic's over, go ahead. No. I've seen people killing it during this pandemic, and they're doing amazing things, and the difference is they're the ones that are going to be at the front of the line. They're the ones that are going to be out there in front when everyone's like, okay, we can start going now. They're already doing those things. And I think one of the things too, I'm going to drop another link. It's jeffhaggie.com/momentum. It's a free course I've done and I developed it at the beginning of the pandemic for this purpose. But one of the things in there, it helps you to really get clarity on your goals and stuff. But I think the most important is finding your why and your purpose. And there's an exercise I put in there that I think is valuable to anyone that wants to set some goals and go after them and achieve them.
Dude, I'm telling you, guys will be taking notes. I consider you to do that. That's definitely another valuable tip and resource that you can use to apply to your life and help continue to grow towards your greatest version of yourself. And Jeff, man, this has been such a treat. Thank you so much for being on GNG podcast. I know there's someone that's listening, want to know a little bit more information as far as the social media. I know you've shared your website a couple of times during the talk, but just give a little bit more of your contact information. Also, we would love to know what else you got going in 2021 that we can be praying about supporting you with.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm probably most active on Instagram, and that's Jeff Heggie Coaching. I am on all the social media sites, and I love the interaction with people there. I've got 2 podcasts with a third one coming, but my daily one is called Jeff Heggie Daily Success Strategies. And I put that out on all the podcast platforms, plus YouTube, plus Instagram. And that's one I love because I do get great interaction with people emailing me their thoughts and comments and their goals and stuff. So please follow me there, Daily Success Strategies. And, you know, I'm excited about where things are at right now. There's a lot of good happening in the world right now when we, sift through all the negativity and stuff. Things are good. Life's good. As Zig Ziglar would say, it's better than good. And I love that. Some of the things I'm working on, one of the focuses working on right now is with youth, and working on my High Achievers Mindset Secrets course with the youth, because I think the youth, well, they are our future. And when the youth can figure out how to develop a powerful mindset, it's unlimited what they're going to do. And so that's something I've really been excited about, is working with more and more youth on helping them develop those powerful mindsets.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. And again, I know that you are a giant, and whoever get in front of those courses, in front of you, on your podcast, on speaking platforms moving forward, I know they're going to be able to see farther than their eyes could have looked without you in their presence, man. And again, like I said at the beginning of this show, man, I definitely resonate with everything that you're doing. Thank you so much for just being that icon and that individual that, takes the leap of faith and are really passionate about helping our young people and just helping adults or anyone that's put in your path. I know you're very passionate about loving on people and caring. And that's one of the reasons I know that we resonated, and I knew you would be a good fit to get in front of this audience on GNG podcast. So again, man, it's been a treat for sure. And I'm looking forward to staying connected with you and doing more endeavors with you moving forward. So God bless you, brother.
Thank you for allowing me to be on your show. And thank you for all that you're doing. You're creating a difference that's amazing. So thank you.
Yes, sir. I want you to stay up with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want you to do two things for me. Keep that crown on your heart. And please remember this. We are God's echo. I love each and every one of you.
Thank you for listening to GNG Podcast. Remember, you are gifted differently to make a difference. Please visit ChazJacksonSpeaks.org and let's continue to grow together. God bless.